Hi everybody, welcome to tonight's live stream. Just wait for a couple of minutes just to see people, give them a chance to jump on. And so in preparation for tonight, I have put a few comments there on the side, or some prompts there. And so as you jump on, what I'd suggest is if you can just have a bit of a read, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And if you have anything that you'd like to be commenting on or celebrating, because we are halfway through the course now, and so there are a few things that we've addressed and touched on, and now's a really good time to be celebrating perhaps some of those things that you're discovering about yourself, and some of those successes perhaps that you're having in implementing some of the skills and strategies. And so really importantly, we're able to acknowledge those progress, the progress, and to be celebrating that as well. So I've just put those comments on the side there around what we're going to be talking about today. So pretty much since the last live stream, the couple of topics that we've focused on. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And so the first topic that we covered in this week was the series called Acres of Diamonds. And the Acres of Diamonds was really intended to help you to start to tune in to your strengths. And so we gave the nice story of the farmer who, spoiler alert, if you haven't read it, go back and read it. But the farmer who was told the story about the diamonds. And one farmer went out to make his fortune, to look for these diamonds, sold up his farm and then went to look for the diamonds. And then he spent the rest of his days searching for the diamonds, and ultimately died in the search. And the farmer who bought his farm ended up deciding that instead of going to seek his fortune, that he would search for the diamonds at his own home. And so he searched for the diamonds and dug in his own backyard, and eventually he dug up diamonds and made his fortune looking for those diamonds in his own backyard. And, obviously everybody will come to their own conclusions about that story and draw their own meanings from the story. But ultimately what it was an encouragement for you to do is to start to turn a little bit inwards and to have a look at, what is actually inside of you, those resources, capacities, and strengths, basically, that you could start to tune in, and to see what's already there. Oftentimes we are so caught up on looking at what we don't have and how we lack, that we really then don't look at what our strengths are. And so the audio was, again, another invitation there for you to start to turn inwards and to have a look at potentially what other people have seen in you. And so sometimes that's a little bit of an easier bridge to cross, where we actually see that other people have actually made a difference in our lives and that they've chosen to do that for their own reasons. And oftentimes what we could start to tune into is looking at, well, they've seen something within you. They've believed in you, perhaps at a time where you didn't even believe in yourself. And so what did they see? What was there to be seen, such that then they could tune into that, tap into that. What were they mirroring back to you, that they then decided to help you and to assist you then to make manifest those strengths and abilities and skills within you, and that those capacities are there to be seen. We, again, so often focus on what we don't have, that we sort of forget that throughout the life course, oftentimes people have chosen to help and have seen things within you. They've reflected those things back to you. And for whatever reason, we discount them or dismiss them, and don't allow them to be absorbed into us, to then grow into what we would see then as a positive self-concept. And so the audio was an invitation for you to think back on those times where people have actually seen something within you, something good within you, and have chosen to invest in you to draw that out. And so we moved on then to the guiding questions. And the guiding questions were really a further to the audio, so they were secondary to the audio, And if you had done the audio and then worked through those guiding questions, what I would hope by the end of that was that you would have a clearer idea around what those strengths are within you. So what are those things that that you see are your unique capacities and qualities that you could then, if you were to start to own them and start to embrace them and to start to see them within yourself, what would happen? How would that change your outlook? How would that change your mindset if you were to start to see that these qualities are within you and to start to take ownership of that, to say, yep, these are qualities that I have. And if you were to start to take action in alignment with those strengths and to see that, yep, they're there, and that you started to own them and to start to keep them in mind as you move throughout your day, that this is something that's within you and that's something that you're good at, and effectively something that you can be proud of. And these are qualities that you could be proud of. And so if you were to move through your day, keeping these in the forefront of your mind, as opposed to probably some of the other stuff, which is usually there, but we would start to, even if it was to be an equal awareness of those strengths versus some of those weaknesses, what would change for you? How would your mood change? How would your outlook on yourself change? How would your outlook on your future change if you could see that you have those acres of diamonds there to be excavated and to be cultivated and then to be actualized in your life? And so it was a really nice invitation then for you to start to effectively turn around what would probably be more of a habitual way of doing it, which is to look at what you don't have and what you're not good at, and to turn that around a little bit and say, well, actually, or probably a lot, in fact, it's actually the opposite way of looking at it, for you to turn that around and say, well, actually, there are some good things there too. There are things there that are important to recognise and important to actualise in your life, and they're things that you can be proud of. And then things that they can grow when you focus on them and you allow them to be cultivated in your life, then they can grow and then they can become a core part of how you present yourself to the world. So that was the Acres of Diamonds. And there's just another little strategy I'd like to put in, for those who are listening to the live stream. This is a little gold nugget here that is not anywhere else in the course. And so this is just for you as you're tuning into the live stream. That one strategy that I really encourage people to implement in their day and at the end of their day is a bit of a different day review than typically people would engage in. So oftentimes at the end of the day, we might look back and say, these are all the things that I haven't done, or these are all the things that I failed at, or, and having a daily review that looks at perhaps all the things that you wanted to achieve that you didn't. And it's often times quite negative, and that's actually a function of low self-esteem. And so that habit of that negative day review is something that happens automatically. Usually we're not even aware of it, but we're pretty aware that we're feeling pretty crappy and down and out. And so one option there is to really consciously and deliberately start to turn that around. And how we do that is to actually start to have a day review which turns that on its head and says, actually, what are those things that I've done today that I'm genuinely proud of? And so that's something for you to consider. This is not something that anybody else can tell you. Even if people have paid you compliments or even if people have given you positive feedback, if that doesn't resonate with you as something that you're genuinely proud of, then it really doesn't actually work to improve your self-esteem. And so what does, though, are those things that that you've worked hard at. And so it might not be obvious to other people. So, if it's something that that you've worked hard at, it was hard for you to do and you did it anyway, then that is something that you can be proud of, and it is something you could be acknowledging yourself for really strongly and firmly to say, actually, that is something that I am proud of. And so, again, there's ownership there. It's connected with what you see as important for you. And it actually then is a positive quality within yourself that you see and genuinely feel connected to. And so what happens then, if we were to start to do that as your daily review, at the end of every day, and you chose, 2 or 3 things to say, well, actually, these are the things that I'm proud of. And even if, say, for example, you're feeling pretty low and down and out, and getting up out of bed is difficult, then, you know, that is something that can be acknowledged. So this is where it is very much about you and where you're at and what's important to you, because it varies. And so, you know, you could be tuning in and saying, what is it that I'm proud of? And seeing if you can identify 2 or 3 things at the end of every day, and, you know, keep a little book beside your bed where you can be jotting those down. You know, today, you know, I'm proud of, and, you know, jotting those down every day. And, you know, you might, if you wanted to, consider, you know, what are those things that I'd like to improve upon? And so, you know, what we're doing there is starting to draw in some of the strategies from the, you know, earlier on in the course, and then combining them with the strengths-based stuff. So we're saying, you know, what are those things that I'm proud of, you know, and really then tuning in with those things that you see as good about yourself, and then bringing in the other stuff we've spoken about, which are that mistakes and, you know, things that we've, you know, may not have worked out. They're there to be improved upon. And so you could be asking yourself that too. What's there that I'd like to improve upon? And so we do that after the strengths. And we could say, yeah, maybe that didn't work out quite as I would like, and there's something to be learned here, and that's okay too. So we could be adding both of those in as a daily review. What am I proud of? What have I done well today? And what would I like to improve upon tomorrow? And so what we do then is we're, again, drawing in that growth mindset, and we're adding in some strengths-based growth there too, to say, yep, we can learn from mistakes and grow from them, and we can be cultivating a positive sense of self-esteem in the process of doing that. And so you could imagine if that became a daily review, and that was something that you did, you know, over days, months and years, you know, how your self-concept might actually start to change in a really profound way, and in a way that moves you directly then towards what matters to you. So you're connecting them with what your strengths are, actualizing them in your life, reinforcing them and celebrating them yourself. So this is something you own. You don't need anybody else to tell you. It's something that you begin to own yourself. And so, you, again, really then harnessing the power of that positive reinforcement for yourself. And so, again, think about what would happen if you did that in years, you know, over a period of months and years, you know, how that would then consolidate a very solid sense of self-esteem, such that you can move powerfully towards what matters to you. And so that brings us to the next bit. So we were looking at some of the strengths and really starting to draw some of that stuff out. And then what we're looking at in the next piece, really, what is your why? And secretly, or not so secretly, this is one of my favourite topics, because, you know, when we really start to get clear around what is our why, and really starting to tune into what is that for you, because it is different for everybody, then that is where we can actually start into meaning, purpose and passion. And so, you know, to live a life, and I mentioned that today in the LYWH Happy Facebook group around living a life of passion, that, you know, that is something that we can choose day by day when we're tuned in with our values, when we know what matters most, when we know what's important to us, and we're using that then as a decision-making filter. We're saying, is this in alignment with my values? Yes or no? And if it's no, and we're prioritising that value, then those decisions become a whole lot easier to make. And so then, if we look at values being your true north, they're your compass bearing, they're where your life is going, and then you're choosing that compass bearing, and you're moving powerfully in the direction of that compass bearing, then we could imagine, you know, that you're going to be a whole lot happier, because you're doing day by day what matters to you, what matters most to you. So that concept of first things first, you know, those things that are most important to you, they're the things that we do, you know, hopefully early on in the day, and we're doing them first, and we're making sure that every day we're acting in alignment with our top priorities, our highest values. And so that the what is your why, those series of modules there, you know, they're really about helping you to tune in to what is most important to you. And so there was the audio there and the little snapshot, the little video, which really then started to look at the connecting, you know, what is your why, and acting within our scope of practice. Excuse me. And so, getting clear around what is it that's important to you, but also being clear that, as much as, say, for example, global warming or, that type of thing could be important to you, you could say, yep, sustainability or something is, one of your top priorities, that we could see how easy that would be to be overwhelmed by that. And so what we want to do then is to be clear around what within that is within your scope of practice. So when it comes to sustainability, for example, what is within your it's not scope of practice, what's within your sphere of influence? And so what is within your sphere of influence? What is it that you can actually do there? And so, we're actually then able to take effective action. And so, again, getting really clear around what's most important to you is, again, where we can actually start to have a life of meaning and purpose. And that's where, we are then combining, what are your strengths? What are these things that you're good at? And then what is most important to you? And how do those two things come together? How can you use your strengths to action those things that are most important to you? And so hopefully in the previous sessions, we really started to talk about, that idea of being perhaps a bit demoralised or undermined by setbacks. And so this is where some of those other things from previous sessions are starting to be drawn in, because we often then start to dream small and then not really think about what is most important to us, because we might have been had setbacks and been demoralised by setbacks in the past. And so here's an opportunity then to really start to get a bit excited to say, well, actually, if I had the right supports, if I had the right information, the knowledge, the skills and techniques, if I had all of that, that could then help me move in a direction that matters to me, what would that direction be? So we don't have to sell ourselves out. We don't have to give up on those things that matter most if we're properly supported and we've got the right tools and techniques and strategies and the right mindset, basically. So those things go hand in glove, that we can really be tuning into what's important to you, as well as saying, well, we also need then the mindset. We need the skills and strategies. And really that's what Love Your Way Happy is about, to be able to give you the really firm foundation, the skills and strategies that you need to be able then to actualize your meaning and purpose, your passion in life. And that is when we are truly happiest. We are happiest when we live in alignment with our values, because we're doing day by day what matters. And that again is why I love this topic so much, that it is about, that we all have that. We all have that within us. We've all got unique capacities and interests and passions. And, if it's just a matter of skills and knowledge that's getting in the way of you actualizing that, well, really that's the easy bit, that if you actually really start to understand the nature of your mindset, then, these things are really possible to actualize in your life. And so, that's the download for today. And so, moving on in the course, the next few days, we're going to be looking at now taking action. And so what I'd really encourage you to do, if you haven't already, is to do the values work, to really start to tune in with your strengths. So the last 6 days or so, start to get into that work and be getting a whole lot clearer around those strengths, what's most important to you, because over the next 3 days we are going to put some wheels on this thing and really then start to look at action in alignment with your values, which is just such powerful work. So I'm just so excited to bring you this next piece, because this is where it really all starts to take off. So put your seatbelt on. It's super exciting. So I hope everybody's doing really well on the course, and let me know, touch base either via email or on the Love Your Way Happy Facebook page. Let me know how you're going with it all. Great. Okay, we'll see you very soon.